Hello everyone. Continuing from video number 5, we were able to implement the beginning of the game, which is presenting a challenge to the user through playing a random note. When the user click on the start game, it plays a note that is selected at random from the different files that we loaded in our app. As we mentioned, every game has multiple components: a challenge that the game presents to the user, a mechanism for collecting the user feedback, and a mechanism for scoring that feedback and giving awards to the user. In our game, we are using very simple approach to each one of those three challenges, and many games that you use will have a complex complex implementation. In the challenge we present is a simple challenge, a sound that the user hears. Gathering the user feedback is by asking the user to tell us which note this sound was, and the scoring, it's a simple scoring where we check is a yes or no. Is the note that the user selected the same as the sound that was played or not, and we award 1 point based on the note that was played. In the mockup that we created for this app, we have this view where the user click on start game, and it plays the sound, activates the buttons. Each button represents a note with one of the files, and as you see, the name of the name on the button is the same as the file name, and this is how we mapped the buttons to the files so that we can compare the name of the file with the text on the button and be able to determine if the user's feedback was correct and deserves a score, or incorrect and they receive no points. When the user makes a correct answer, we want to display multiple things. Display an image that indicates a correct answer, display a label that indicates a correct answer, and display how many turns have gone and out of how many. In this mockup, we're assuming 10 turns, and this is the third one. In our case, for simplicity and time, we're just going to use 3 turns, but you are free to implement as many as you want. In the case of incorrect answer, we display a different image and a different label, and this label stays the same. So compared to what we built so far, we built the help button, we built the start game, so we need to build these buttons and evaluate and add the label, add an image, and we'll leave that to the next video. And our goal in this video is to implement the user making an answer, and we're checking if this is a correct answer or incorrect answer and play another sound. In the next video, we'll implement the turn. So our steps, we're going to add those buttons. Over here, we're going to add a label to display correct or incorrect message, and add 2 images, one to represent a correct answer and one to represent an incorrect answer. So let's start working. If we bring our storyboard, and I'm going to make some room for myself here and bring in the utility area, I need to add the different buttons. So I'm going to add them here. So this is button number 1, A, and then I'm going to add a button for each of the files that I have. So I have A sharp and another button here. I think that's B, and maybe I need to bring the file name so I can have buttons for each one of the files. B, C, and in this case I have to implement all of them just in case the user, actually if another file was played, I'm just gonna stop here for the sake of time, and you guys need to finish all of them. So you need to add a button for each one of the files that we have. So I added from A through D. You need to go from D sharp to C sharp. Then I need to add a label. So that is my label. and this will be the label that represent a correct answer or incorrect answer. So I don't want anything on this label for now. Alright, then we need to add an image. To add an image, we take two steps. An image is included using an image view, which is what you see over here on the right side. An image view is connected to an image file. Currently, we do not have any image files, so we'll add image files. I'm going to add simple images from the icon collection, but I would expect you to add an appropriate images so you can create those images on your own and add them in your project. So click on Add Files to the project, then navigate to Images. So I'm going to navigate here to Images and iChat icons, and I'm going to go to Fruits, use orange, and I'm going to use, let's say, the strawberry. Or maybe a green apple and strawberry. Make sure you check Copy Items into Destination Group folder. Make sure this is checked so that the image files are copied from this location into the project folder that you have. So now you have the two images. So back to the storyboard. I'm going to add my first image. So add the image view. I'm going to resize it so that it has some room. Here is my label, so I'm going to move my label a little bit. Move the image a little bit down. Maybe it's too big, so perhaps make it smaller. And then in the image attributes, here it is the image. So there's a drop down and there are the two images. So I'm going to add the green apple image. And then you have another image. So I'll add another image view and resize that second image view. And I'm going to make this the strawberry image. And then I'm going to put those on top of one another. So I have now two images, one on top of the other. So how do we access them? You see this arrow, the document outliner. If you open the document outliner, you can see each item that you have over here, and you can click on the item and the item is selected. So this is how we can access each one of them, even if you can't see it from here. Alright, so now those images, as you can see from the mockup, the image only appears after the user makes an answer. So how can we make an image appear and then make the image disappear? And how can we make the label have a correct answer and appear, and the label that has an incorrect answer disappear? We can, for the label, we can set the text on the label to empty. We can set the text to correct answer, incorrect answer. For the images, we can use the alpha to make the image completely transparent. If we set the alpha to 0, see here, if I go to the alpha and set the alpha to 0, you will notice that you no longer see the image. So that's how we're going to make the image appear or disappear, by changing the alpha value. Alright? So since we're going to play with the properties of the images, we're going to play with the properties of the label, then we need to make those as outlets. So now I no longer need my utility area. I need my assistant editor. And in the assistant editor, I need to add each of the image views as outlets. So drag with the control button and release as an outlet. And you see the type is UI image view. And we're going to call this image correct answer. Oh, this is the strawberry, so this will be incorrect answer. Connect. Then I'm going to, I no longer need my label, I need the outline. So select the green and then control drag the green. Oops, I'm using the strawberry here. I want the green. Alright, I'm not able to do that, so let me select it. Here it is. And then image correct answer. And then connect. Then let me put the strawberry on top of it again. Right, so here are the images. Now I need the label also. So this is the label. And I'm going to call this label answer feedback. Alright. Then each one of those buttons is an event generator, meaning that when the user clicks on the button, that will trigger checking the answer and evaluating what the user have said. So each one of those need to connect to an action. So go to each one of the button and drag the button to the header file and connect it as an action, and this action will be check answer. And do we need a sender? Yes, I need a sender, and the reason I need a sender is to know which button is being clicked and grab the text on that text button, which is very similar to what I did in the help view. So I need a sender as an argument, and the type is UI button because all of the senders will be UI button. So connect, and it creates that action. Then I need each one of the buttons to be connected to that action. So move and connect from the check answer action to the button. Check answer to the button, so that when you hover over the check answer, you can see all the buttons that are connected with it. And when you complete the rest of the buttons, you need to make that connection as well. So let's make sure that everything is running. So click run. And nothing will work so far because we did not implement any of the actions. Alright, perhaps I messed up when so let me take that out and try to run again. So here is the game. Now you notice when it comes up, the images appear. And we don't want that. If you go back to the mockup, no images should show at the start. The images show only when the user clicks the buttons. Also, those buttons are active. You can click on them, which we also don't want. The buttons need to be disabled, but we'll deal with that at a later point. Now when the user clicks, here's a sound. You should click one of those and it should give you back the answer. So now everything we added on the interface seems to work as expected, so we can go back and start implementation. So in the implementation, once the view is loaded, we need to reset everything, or at least in this case reset the images. So I go to, let me stop this from running, and bring this up and go to the implementation file. And in the implementation file, you will see check answer here. And in the check answer, what we want to do is we want to check if the user answered correctly or not. The check answer is simple. We want to compare the note that is being played, which we already saved in this variable called current note, and the button that the user clicked, which we have in the argument that is being sent by the event. So let's retrieve each one of those. So first, let's retrieve what the user selected. So we can say that selected answer as a string and say, give me the text that's on the label. So I send the message to the sender and say, give me your title label, and send the message to the title label, say, give me your text. So now I have a string that has whatever text that's on the title label. I also have the current note. But see what's in current note. This is what's in current note. The entire path. I don't want the entire path. I only want the last part of the path. This last part of the path. So to get that last part of the path, I can use a message to the string that says give me the last path component. So I can say I can use the current note and override the current note in here, since I update it all the time, or I can make my own variable and say the correct answer or the correct note. Let's just use the current note. So I send the message to the current note and say give me the last path component. So when you have a path that has multiple components like this, the last path component give you that component. Now this component is the file name .mb3. So I have an option to either take what's the label on the user on the button and attach mb3 to it, or split the mb3 out of the note. We already know how to concatenate or how to attach a string to one another using the string with format. So I may modify the selected answer so that it is not only the A or B or C, but it is that with the mb3 attached to it. How do I do this? I do this by sending a message to the NS string and say a string with format. So instead of saying I want the selected answer, let me take this out. Instead of saying that selected answer equal this, I say selected answer is a string made from the string with format. The string with format requires a format. So my format says I want a string followed by the dot followed by the mb3. Then that requires that I add a comma and say what is that string that will be attached. Now I bring the string from my button and put it over here and make some room so you can see it all together, and I no longer need that comment. So here is my message. It's a very complex message. You probably the first one we saw so far. I am sending a message string with format to the NS string class that says create a string made out of a string variable followed by a dot followed by mb3. What is that string variable? The string variable is coming from sending the title label message to the sender, which is the argument coming to my message, and then send the text message to that label. So that give me whatever text on the button and attach to it the mb3. So now I have what the user selected as an a.mb3 or b.mb3 and what the actual random note that was played, which I got from the current note. Now I can compare the two. So I can say check if the user made a correct answer or gave a correct answer. So I say if, and then I compare. So I say if the selected answer is equal to string is equal to the selected answer, if the selected answer is equal to the current note, if that is the case, then it means we have a correct answer. However, else, if that is not the case, then it means that I have incorrect answer. What do I want to do if it is a correct answer? If it is a correct answer, I need to update the label and say this is an incorrect, this is a correct answer. This is the message, and the message says it's correct answer. If it's incorrect answer, then I need to update the label and say this is an incorrect answer. So let's do that. So the label and I need to display the images too. Since the label and the images were set as properties, I need to synthesize those properties in the beginning. So I go in the implementation file after the implementation and say synthesize, and all the properties that I have need to be synthesized. So the label answer feedback, the image correct answer, and the image incorrect answer. Then I go back to my messages here and say set up the correct answer. So I say label answer feedback, set text, so this is not let me see if I made a mistake. So this is a UI label. This is label answer feedback. Maybe I have an error here. Oh, this is a message that needs to be closed. Yep, that's what it is. So this is a message that needs to be closed, and it wasn't closed, so this is why my label was not being viewed. So I want to set the text to be this string that says correct answer. And if it is an incorrect answer, I need to set the label to be set text, and it says incorrect answer. Right? So how about the images? Let's see if this will work first or not, and then we'll worry about the images after that. I added the images, but I didn't change them. So play, and this is a C sharp. So click on C sharp. It's a correct answer. So here's my correct answer. Start a game. It's an A sharp. Let me check B. So it says incorrect answer. But what's going on here is that when you play the game, it doesn't change. So we need to find a way where when the user make a selection, the labels start, but then everything gets reset. That the images are reset and the labels are reset after the feedback is being displayed to the user. Also, in the beginning of a game, I need to reset. In the start of a game, I need to reset, and when the view did load, I also need to reset. So perhaps I need to add a reset module. So let's add this reset module. So the reset module doesn't need to return anything, and it needs to reset and doesn't receive any arguments. And what do I need to reset? I need to reset the label to empty, and I need to reset the images to alpha equal 0. So let's do that. So I say label answer feedback, set text, empty, and the images to alpha, I will say image correct answer, set alpha to 0, and then the image incorrect answer, set alpha to 0. This has gone too long now, so I'm going to stop here and we'll continue this in the next video.